Our age is essentially one of understanding and reflection, without passion, momentarily bursting into enthusiasm, then shrewdly relapsing into repose. Nowadays, not even a suicide kills himself in desperation. Before taking the step, he deliberates so long and so carefully that he literally chokes with thought. It is even questionable whether he ought to be called a suicide, since it is really thought which has taken his life. He does not die with deliberation, but from it. It would therefore be very difficult to prosecute the present generation in view of its legal quibbles. In fact, its ability, virtuosity, and good sense consists in trying to reach a judgment and a decision without ever going as far as action. If one may say of the revolutionary period that it ran wild, one would have to say of the present that it runs badly. Between them, the individual and his generation always bring each other to a standstill, with the result that the prosecuting attorney would find it next to impossible to get any fact admitted, because nothing really happens. But the present generation, wearied by its chimerical efforts, relapses into complete indolence. Its condition is that of a man who has only just fallen asleep towards morning. First of all come great dreams, then a feeling of laziness, and finally a witty or clever excuse for remaining in bed. However well-meaning and strong the individual man may be, he still has not the passion to be able to tear himself from the coils and seductive uncertainty of reflection, nor do his surroundings supply the events or produce the general enthusiasm necessary in order to free him. Instead of coming to his help, his cultural milieu forms around him a negative intellectual opposition, which juggles for a moment with a deceptive prospect, only to deceive him in the end by pointing to a brilliant way out of the difficulty, by showing him that the shrewdest thing of all is to do nothing. During an age of revolution, weapons and arms are distributed freely, just as during the Crusades the insignia of the exploit were bestowed upon men. But nowadays people are supplied with rules of careful conduct and ready reckoners to facilitate judgment. A revolutionary age is an age of action. Ours is the age of advertisement and publicity. Nothing ever happens, but there is immediate publicity everywhere. In the present age, a rebellion is of all things the most unthinkable. Such an expression of strength would seem ridiculous to the calculating intelligence of our times. So we entreat you to leap cheerfully, even if it means a light-hearted leap, so long as it is decisive. If you are capable of being a man, then danger and the harsh judgment of existence on your thoughtlessness will at least help you to become one. If the jewel which everyone desired to possess lay far out on a frozen lake, where the ice was very thin, watched over by the danger of death, while closer in the ice was perfectly safe, then, in a passionate age, the crowds would applaud the courage of the man who ventured out, they would tremble for him and with him in the danger of his decisive action, and they would grieve over him if he were drowned. They would make a god of him if he secured the prize. But in our age, an age without passion, it would be otherwise. People would think each other clever in agreeing that it was unreasonable and not even worthwhile to venture out so far, and in this way they would transform daring and enthusiasm into a simple feat of skill. At present, Western civilization, with its sudden enthusiasms followed by apathy and indolence, is very near the comic. But those who understand such things see quite clearly that the comic is not where the present age imagines. And what indeed is there for an age of reflection and thought to defy with humor? For being without passion, it has lost all feeling for the values of eros, for enthusiasm and sincerity in politics and religion, or for piety, admiration, and domesticity in everyday life. But even if the vulgar laugh, life only mocks at the wit which knows no values. To be witty without possessing the riches of inwardness is like squandering money upon luxuries and dispensing with necessities, or, as the proverb says, like selling one's breeches to buy a wig. But an age without passion has no values. Thus there are certain remarks and expressions current which, though true and reasonable up to a point, are lifeless. And just as one longs for the clink of real money after the crankle of banknotes, one longs nowadays for a little originality. And if there is one thing lacking in the present-day West, it is precisely this.